hijo. Claro que a mí me beneficiaría, ahorita yo estoy como en el otro lado, como dueña de un centro educativo y para mí sería súper sensacional poder pagarles a mis compañeras de trabajo, no digo mis trabajadoras, somos compañeras, porque incluso yo todavía desde las 6 de la mañana todavía estoy aquí en el centro, como ustedes pueden ver, porque yo no puedo contratar a otra persona que me pueda cubrir para yo poder agarrar mi descanso. Entonces, eso sería sensacional para el beneficio de mis compañeras. Muchas gracias por invitarme y aquí estamos.
Well, thank you for being here and thank you for those comments. And a follow-up question for you and Merlinda. You kind of already mentioned it. You know, we've heard from a lot of center owners that it is hard to hire teachers right now, that offering $10 an hour or even a little more just is not bringing in people in the door. Are you all finding the similar thing at your centers and other centers that you know about, that they simply can't fill all the teaching slots?
Sí, correcto. En mi caso, no tengo los suficientes fondos para pagarle un salario justo, que yo diría, a una maestra. Así que ahorita estoy haciendo el papel yo de maestra, directora, cocinera, personal de limpieza, o sea, todo. Porque lamentablemente ahorita no estoy ganando lo suficiente para poder cubrir un empleado o alguien que sea un suplente mío. Y para variar, yo tengo mi clase inclusiva. Así que mis niños necesitan mi atención al máximo, necesitan mi ayuda pues, bastante, y no tengo ahorita yo los medios para poder pagar. Ahorita la gente no se quiere arriesgar también a ganar $10.50 la hora y trabajar hasta 10 horas y arriesgando su vida porque saben ahorita cómo está la situación. Y a mí la verdad me da mucha pena y se me hace injusto también yo poder ofrecerles $10.50 la hora sabiendo yo la gran responsabilidad que tenemos aquí. Ojalá que estas voces que estamos nosotros alzando lleguen a donde tienen que llegar para que vean nuestro gran trabajo que estamos haciendo, que vengan, yo los invito a mi centro y se sienten para que vean el trabajo que nosotros hacemos, todo el sacrificio, y que ellos vean y digan, ¿sabes qué? Es justo que ganes $10.50 la hora, o que vean realmente lo que de verdad debemos ganar, que sea valorado nuestro gran trabajo que estamos haciendo.
Myra, do you have anything to add on that?
Sí, claro que sí. Yo también quiero invitar que vengan y nos visiten para que vean lo valioso que es nuestro trabajo con nuestros niños.
So one last question before we turn to Ivy Dell. We know that under risky conditions, challenging conditions, because you're sometimes shorthanded, that you all still offer quality care for the children at your centers. That said, do you feel like children would notice if their teachers started to earn or started to get paid a living wage like $18 an hour? Do you think it would have some kind of effect on the mood in a center? Anyone?
Por supuesto que sería un cambio muy beneficioso. Nosotros, bueno, las que trabajamos con niños, al saber que tenemos dinero para poder solventar nuestra familia, al saber que vamos a tener dinero para la comida, para los biles, para mantener nuestra casa, pues nuestro humor va a andar arriba. Y eso a los niños, claro que les va a beneficiar, porque de nosotros depende aquí su desarrollo socioemocional, es de gran importancia en la primera infancia, así que prácticamente se reflejaría muy, muy positivamente.
Thank you, Merlinda, and thank you, Myra. So now a question for Ivy Dell. You know, our early education department is making historic changes to our early education system. And they've made a lot of steps that has made the situation much, much better for parents. They have made New Mexico the first state in the country where you can qualify for child assistance, child care assistance at 350% of income. They've done away with copays during the pandemic. But that is, I think, is getting a lot more parents interested in bringing their children to child care centers. And so I wanted to ask you, Ivy Dell, let's forget about teachers for a moment. How do you think raising the wage for teachers to $18 an hour would really help New Mexico get to a place where our child care system could meet the needs of all of the state's young children?
Hi, my name is Ivy Dalnata. I've been an early childhood educator for 16 years, and I'm a member of OLE organization. And I think this $18 an hour will greatly impact our young children, especially from birth to 5 years old. They'll have the right to early education and be successful in transitioning to kindergarten, and therefore their schooling and a successful life. We as educators, we help them grow and develop, and we're helping them meet their milestones, and providing the quality care that parents are seeking. And so we work with the parents to provide that the child's needs, to meet the child's needs. And so with that, our children will greatly benefit if the wages increases. I mean, as educators, we we spend a lot of time away from family because we're, going to school, getting our education, so we could provide that quality care and teach the young learners, to their developmental appropriate activities so that they can learn and grow. And so, as childcare workers, we certainly deserve the $18 an hour minimum wage and a wage parity, because we are educating young learners just like the teachers from K through 12. And so, we develop lesson plans, curriculums, and we're just doing basically everything that a teacher is doing from K to 12.
Thank you, Ivy Dell. Myra, were you raising a hand to add another comment?
Sí, claro que sí. Nosotros les preparamos un pequeño video a ustedes para que vean el gran trabajo que hacemos nosotros con nuestros niños, de que salen de aquí contentos diciéndole a los papás los colores en español, cantándoles en español, y es bilingüe, totalmente bilingüe. No sé si me pudieran apoyar aquí las compañeras para que pasaran el video que nosotros les preparamos a ustedes para que lo vean.
Yeah, I thank you for sending along the video, Myra and Sandra. I watched the video, and it is a beautiful video showing your teachers teaching the colors to a young child in both English and Spanish. I'm not sure we have a way to show it tonight, so let's make sure that we show it at our next meeting. I think we just got it. And yes, everyone should definitely see it, and we'll bring it up at our next meeting. So one last question for all of you. On this question of the future of New Mexico childcare system, you know, we serve tens of thousands of children across the state right now. If we could imagine doubling or tripling the number of children that we would serve, because some of the research I've seen shows that only 1 in 3 young children in New Mexico get an early education before they start to kindergarten. So we have a long way to go in terms of getting every child in the state an early education. If we wanted to grow our system that much, how do you think having a living wage like $18 an hour would help us build that kind of system? And do you think we could build it without paying that kind of wage? Anyone?
I think that it won't build if, you know, we don't have this wage increase and wage parity, because without teachers, a company won't be there.
Yep. Any other thoughts? Okay. Well, so let me talk a little bit more before we close on where we go from here. So as I said, I spoke to Representative Teresa Ledger Fernandez's staff about this fight to include a mandatory minimum wage of $18 an hour for childcare workers in the $450 billion infrastructure bill. She said that Representative Ledger Fernandez definitely is with us on the fight for higher wages in childcare. This is a complicated bill with a lot of negotiations going on, however. So we didn't want to just end the conversation at that. Representative Ledger Fernandez's policy person on childcare set up a Zoom with us to talk Tuesday at 12 o'clock Mountain Time. And so I wanted to just ask for a show of hands of folks who think they could take time off during lunch to meet Teresa Ledger Fernandez's staff, get an update from her about what is happening with the bill, and ask her ourselves this question of whether we can count on the representative to fight for a minimum wage for childcare workers. Anyone here think they may be able to join us? Raise your hand. Ivy Dell, great. Merlinda, terrific. Andrea, beautiful. Well, anyone else who checks their schedule and wants to join us, please email one of your organizers, email Olay so we can get you connected. In the meantime, I just want to leave one last thing in the chat, which is the phone number for Representative Ledger Fernandez's office in Washington. Everyone who's on the call, everyone who's watching the recording, please call Representative Ledger Fernandez some point this weekend. Thank the representative for fighting for the full $450 billion for childcare in the reconciliation bill. And be sure to please ask her to include in that $450 billion funding for a high minimum wage, $18 an hour for childcare workers across America. Can everyone do that? Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us for this conversation tonight. This is only the latest. Things are going to be happening thick and fast over the coming weeks. So we'll keep you all posted on every step as it unfolds. Please have a hard-earned Labor Day on Monday. And we'll see some of you Tuesday at noon when we talk with Representative Ledger Fernandez's office. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Good night.